Welcome back to the Difference Engine podcast. I'm your host, Caleb Oakes. Today, we're going to talk about something really, really basic and absolutely essential. And that is for every human being. If you're a human being listening to this, you're in luck. Every human being, your habit of sleep. And it's especially important for entrepreneurs. And I've been part of and seen a lot of high-level masterminds where the first thing they talk about is your biology and especially your sleep habits. People pay thousands of dollars to be in a room of high performers or achievers, and the first thing they cover is sleep, or one of the most basic things they check on with accountability is sleep. I read a book, I don't remember even the title of it. It was in this period of my years of self-development where I was reading, I don't know, a book every other week. It was an old school sales performance, book, like a 1960s or 70s sales book. And there was a section of it that was like, hey, we don't know the purpose of sleep, really. We haven't been able to identify the importance of it. Therefore, don't sleep that much because it's probably not important. And the reasoning there, unfortunately, I believed it for a while, is like, hey, we have no scientific proof of this, the importance of this, therefore it must not be important. It's genius. So it's probably better I don't remember the name of the book and out the author, but it is a crazy idea to think that a biological function that every living thing does is pretty crazy. I mean, sharks take the time to sleep and they don't even stop swimming to do it. So if you don't sleep enough, you're basically sailing a ship with holes in the bottom. I know this because I recently have been doing data on my sleep. And I realized as I'm tracking my deep cycles and wake up and go to bed times, I'm only getting 7.5 hours of sleep, which for human biology is like bare minimum. And I know there's outliers to this. I know there are people who sleep 5 hours per night and do it for years and function in society and are high achievers. I think there are outliers though. And there's a lot of studies coming out now that concern me in how we're approaching sleep, just in that is the cool down time for your brain, and the cleaning functions that happen for your biology, especially your brain, only in sleep, are the main factors that keep offset early dementia and a lot of brain diseases. There are certain things that your brain does only during sleep that if it's not shut down routinely for the repair and recovery time, you're just not getting that. It's not just like, well, I felt disastrous when I woke up today. So it's 2.5 energy drinks or 3 energy drinks today, coffee. Even if you can't feel the effects of it, if you're not sleeping enough, it is detrimental to your health, period. Time management is one of the things I work on most frequently with entrepreneurs, but it applies to every single person. The really hard part of adult life is no one's going to come around behind you and check if you're doing the most basic health things for yourself. No one audits the amount of sugar you intake in your body unless you've hired a personal trainer who is good at that stuff. No one's going to come behind you and check your bedtime. No one's going to see how much TV you watch. These are the great separators. These are the sneaky, blurry habits that change people's lives, period. Darren Hardy wrote The Compound Effect, and it is really staggering, the idea of if you eat 1 bag of potato chips per night for a year and it puts you over your calorie intake by 500 calories, it's a small single serving bag of potato chips. And over the course of the year, you gain 15 pounds and have no idea where it came from, typically. So sleep is one of those things that if you're chronically tired, burnt out, stressed, high on toxins from food you're eating, your body demands more sleep, not less. So it is it's tragic to think, and I'm lumping myself in this category, that we lack. We have gaps in our nutrition, probably aren't getting our emotional needs met in terms of feeling safe. I don't mean safe like there's risks you have to take and there's times you have to push through. I'm not saying that you have to feel safe at all times in the strictest sense of the word, that there's no risks or pushing through or growth. But if your breath is short all day, if you're not breathing deep enough, you're oxygen deprived, you're in a state of fight or flight, your nervous system is stressed out, and then we shortchange ourselves on sleep, that is a recipe for burning out. That's a recipe for being really unhappy with your life. So in monitoring my sleep recently, I have realized that I probably haven't had a full 7-day week of 8 hours of sleep a night for years. And the further complication of that is quality of sleep, which I'm finding out wearables. I have a Garmin watch on for you who are listening and not watching this. Wearables don't track your REM very well because they use your pulse and your movement, and it's very hard to track your brain activity, which is what REM sleep is. So they don't track very closely the difference between deep and light sleep, but the quality of sleep, and that goes from like the amount of light in the room, the sounds in the room or lack of sound in the room, the comfort of your bed, the temperature of the bed, of your body, how many blankets you use, if your partner kicks a lot in their sleep. Someone's hitting the send button on this right now, sharing it with their partner. Hey babe, this is you. If those all factor in too, so you could have 7.5 hours of sleep and the next person has 7.5 hours of sleep, but they are not equal in the quality at all. And then if you stack those up over a year, 7.5 hours of really poor quality sleep, that's going to do some damage. And my wife and I are in the period of like disciplining ourselves. And I'll be honest, it's tougher. It's tough to discipline yourself. The go-to unwind thing in America is being on your cell phone. However, I'm not going to cite all those science behind it. It's really bad for you to be staring straight into blue light, usually scrolling frantically, trying to wind your brain down while also winding it up. And I mean, that's one of those things that you can't feel the quality probably, especially since we do it so often. If you scroll 4 or 5 nights a week, you probably can't even tell what it feels like to not do that before bed. But we use red light glasses to mimic the sunset rather than taking in a bunch of blue light. We try to keep the lights low in our house, and the red light glasses also dim. They're a lot dimmer than just walking around without your eyes covered. And sound to sleep, like we use sound, white noise type stuff, fans and stuff to sleep. So it's a whole, the sleep hygiene, as much as it feels like it's invisible or hard to track or really not sure, it's very time consuming to do the personal study of yourself and the results you get, because it's scientific and you need to say, I'm only introducing one variable at a time. That's scientific. It's worth it though. I mean, if you do not have good sleep, if you're not getting 8 hours, that's super damaging. And when I work with clients, the first thing we get a hold of is time and money. And time, the first thing that you're probably thinking when you heard this topic is, I don't have time for it. And as I would challenge that with Robert Kiyosaki's classic, when people say, I can't afford it, it's how can I afford it? You're essentially saying, I can't afford to take care of my brain health. I can't afford to make quality decisions because I am underslept. You know, Jeff Bezos in an interview was asked one time, how much do his executives sleep? Because the person interviewing him thought, you guys must be grinding out there. And he was like, my executives sleep 8 hours a night because their job is to make 2 or 3 quality decisions a day. And the worst thing they could do to set themselves up for those choices is to be underslept. And the fact he answered with so much confidence and knew the sleep of his executives tells me that's probably part of their expectations of their role. And he probably sleeps that much too. So the higher up you go, there's an idea that the more intense the entrepreneurship gets, the more you just drive your body and biology into the ground. It's the opposite. The more leverage you get and the more clear you get and the more handle you get on your business and your life, the more your biology factors in, the more important it is, the higher the stakes are. If you want to chat about this, you can message me any of the platforms. The Difference Engine is my handle. Get some good sleep this week.